right. Okay, Doug. Great to have you here. We're so excited to have you here as our first Lit Spotlight presenter or facilitator. And I will spare you me like just reading verbatim your bio and let you do your own introduction, as I'm sure you have certain things that you would like to share with people about who you are and what you're bringing to us today in the learning, innovation, and technology space. So great, glad to have
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. And, I met Megan, I can't remember how long this was ago. This might have been before the pandemic, but she came to St. Louis for the ATD chapter. And I've just been following her on LinkedIn and staying in touch. And so when I saw that she was doing stuff on AI, I thought, you know what? I need to step in here and um, share some things that I might be able to help because one of the things I loved doing is staying ahead of the innovation. Like I know many of us are using Zoom now, but I published this book with McGraw-Hill back in 2015. It's called Screen to Screen Selling, one of the first books to talk about Zoom as an education platform. And then working with my son now, right? We created a learning management system using Amazon Web Services where we built virtual Minecraft servers so kids could play together during the pandemic, right? We learned how to build Alexa skills. So that was really my first introduction to software development, right? Because mainly before, I consider myself to be an expert in real estate, marketing, technology. I've built a business to where I've traveled all over the US and Canada, speaking at conferences and helping folks adapt to some of these latest trends. And so this shift to become a developer, right? We're actually learning how to code and you're learning server architecture and solutions development. It just came at a time where an intersection where I was learning these skills and then AI hit it right at the cusp, right? And so through that, I've been able to take my knowledge in talent development, right? I've been able to take my knowledge in as a software developer and also as a marketer, not just to create my own apps, which I have for CodeTrack Pro, but also help other leaders and organizations, whether they're community-based or it's the government or entrepreneurs, even nonprofits too, is staying ahead of this curve in a way that's meaningful. And so what we're going to talk about today is how you, right, not necessarily as somebody who knows coding at all, but I imagine that anytime you're trying to create some sort of, whether it's an LMS, right, or some sort of solution to close the performance gap, whether it's knowledge, skills, attitudes, or trying to shift a culture, we can use AI to create AI. And I want you to think about that for a minute, right? Because I think many of us who are probably getting started, we're just probably using ChatGPT in a way that, okay, we can type in a prompt and this is what we can get. But I want you to challenge you to think on how you can use AI to build AI which will scale your productivity in whatever format that you'd like. So through this conversation, I know there's only a few of us here that are part of this call, but I encourage you to go back and watch this video. I'll give you a couple different links that you can use, and I'll put it into a way that you can actually do this yourself. But I will warn you though, there will come a point, right, where you say, you know what, I'm kind of stuck. I need somebody as a software developer to kind of fix what I might have created or fix what I've broken, to be able to get in the way you want. But at the very start, right, I think many of us as learning development professionals, we're stuck on, or we have this reliance on IT, right? I've got this crazy idea. Let's see how they can move this forward. But they're bogged down. They've got plenty of different things that they're working on, and they don't have time to work on someone's crazy idea. Well, the whole goal of this is for you to kind of create your own application in a way that serves you, so that way you can take it to leadership. right? And say, hey, look, this is something that's a prototype that we might be able to implement internally, right, with our team, or maybe it's externally with customers in order to serve them better. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not sure if I have permission to share my screen yet. Let me see. Yes, I do. And Zoom kind of changed this around a little bit. So yeah, no, that's good. Here we go. So do you see my screen that says what they don't teach you in kindergarten?
Yes, we do.
Okay, cool. So I think, did I put this in the chat here for you to take a look at? Because I think this will be fun here. Yeah, okay, so I've got that in there. I've got my LinkedIn profile that I put in there. Make sure that you connect with me there. What you'll see about me mostly posting on LinkedIn right now are things about CodeTrack Pro, because that's the platform that I've created from the ground up on how to protect families and put them back together. Whenever there's issues with kids. um so that's what I'm kind of working on, but at the same time, right, people are starting to ask me, how do I create these solutions for myself? So when I was thinking about, well, if I'm using AI to create AI, why don't I go ahead and create this statement of work generator? All right. A statement of work generator. Now, if you've ever put a proposal together before, you know how time consuming that can be, right? And you probably have to get other people to buy into it in a way that is meaningful, that's collaborative, where everybody gets a voice. And typically from a change management perspective, we're asking the same questions over and over again. It's just different inputs, right? And then the output that's created is based upon the input from the customer or from the team through the process that we have created, and then output for us to be able to benefit from. So this statement of work generator that I built using AI allows you to kind of create your own proposal, but more importantly, the text to either upload or copy and paste and put into a vibe coding platform that will build it for you in minutes. And I want you to think about that for a minute. All right. You can create one of these solutions in minutes based upon the instructions that you give it ahead of time. And if you're working with the team, right? There's a lot of different. Okay, so I'll scroll down here. What's the actual what's the mission of our company, right? Or what's the vision of our company? Well, you could probably copy and paste that and put it into copy and paste from the website and put it into here. What's the company values and culture, right? And then you click to next. What are the current pain problems and pain points, right? I mean, how many times have you asked these questions to really get to the root of the issues or the problems that you're trying to solve, rather than trying to introduce some flashy tool, right? Some hypey tool that get people excited that doesn't work. You're actually focused on solving specific problems in the organization, right? Or for the company, or for the small business, or for your customer. So you can use this in a variety of different ways. I want to tell you that I've built probably about, I don't know, I've lost track, maybe 30 or 40 of these things, including the statement of work generator. I've built a content generator that all I have to do is type in a prompt, on the theme. I select the number of images that I want. I select the pixel size that I want. And then I click generate. It'll generate the number of prompts to build the images. Then I click generate images, and then it'll build. Through using AI, right, inside of this app that I've created, it'll generate the images. So like 5 to 20 images it'll generate, and then in addition to that, it'll generate the CSV file of the title of the post, the hashtags, all in a CSV file that's related to that specific image. That's only because I took a look at the workflow that I'm using on a regular basis, right? And say, how can I automate this? How can I make this easier for myself? How can I take myself out of the equation so that I can do I mean, I'm kind of lazy, I'll admit it. Uh, how can I do as least amount of work as possible by automating this workflow? So I'm going to share this link with you here through the chat. All right. Now, I ask that you don't just kind of go off and share this with everybody else, right? Kind of keep this internally because this is kind of like my little baby here. But this is the statement of work generator that you can get started using yourself. Okay. So if I go back, so you can go through and fill out all of these things, IP requirements and technical notes. If you understand coding and development, you could say, well, I want this to be, developed in Python, or I want this to be a React app, or whatever it might be, right? You can add that into the technical notes, and then essentially click generate SOW, and then you've got it right there. Uh, do I have your permission to use Torrance Learning as an example?
Sure, you can use
All
us.
right. So this is how easy I made it, right? So I copy the link, right? And then I paste it into here. And then I click extract data. All right. So now it's going to start thinking in the background. And as this is thinking, you're thinking, gosh, this is taking so long. I want you to think about how long it takes for you to type this stuff. I want you to think about how many times they have to go back and forth in order to get the right solution. I want you to think about how many times you have to continuously rework this type of proposal to get it in a place where then you send it out to IT to be able to build for you. Well, we can skip all of those different steps and make this. So you can see here right from the website. These are the current problems and pain points. Tell me, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see this, and tell me if I'm off on this. Um, Torrance Learning addresses complex learning and performance challenges by offering custom learning design and strategic advising. They help organizations navigate new technologies, implement data analytics, and adopt agile project management methodologies to improve on-the-job effectiveness. How does that sound?
That sounds like a good synopsis of what we are and what we do. I'm not sure I would call those problems and pain points though.
Yeah. Okay.
But to be I guess frank, like we don't probably don't like advertise those on our website for the world. Here's all our problems.
No, then that's fair, right? No, I appreciate you giving that feedback because it's one of these things where we kind of have to check what we put in.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not just a one shot, for AI, they call this human in the loop to where we
Yeah.
actually need a
Yep.
human to be able. So this kind of acts as kind of a rough draft, and then you might go back through and start to refine this, right?
Right. So if you wanted to put a problem in there, I might say something like uh getting the correct information from subject matter experts upfront on a project. I don't know that correct information is the right term for that, but
No, keep going with that. Subject matter experts.
yeah.
You know what I'll do here is I'll start this over, and then I'll add it in to the bottom of it. I think that'll work. Yeah. Okay. In order to help clients with their solutions. We'll just
Sure.
kind of start with that. What are the metrics for success? Um, we've got include achieving client performance goals, the engagement and satisfaction of learners, and the ability to provide data-driven insights. Also help with workshops and recertification credits. The details here, given their focus on data analytics and XAPI, Torrance Learning likely uses robust data and security standards. So we've got that. So, so now we've done the heavy lifting here. And now it's going to generate this proposal for you. And so here's something like if you're going to get anything out of this program today, I would write down this. It's an easy phrase. It's called no code markdown because you're not coders, right? You're learning development professionals. Now, some of you might know code, or maybe you develop enterprise solutions. I don't know, but the whole idea here is to create no code instructions. And if you've been doing this for a while, you know that the better instructions you write, the better outcome that you can receive. So I have to tell you, from developing these apps, I'll spend more time initially on creating the no code markdown instructions. And I'll even go back and forth between ChatGPT, right? I'll go back and forth between ChatGPT and ask them some simple questions. How would you make this better? How would you improve the usability? Just simple questions like that. And then like it'll just start rattling off. And if you've used it, you've seen how it just continuously flows. Then you get that one markdown file, or maybe it's a tiered architecture of multiple markdown files. And then you can add that into the vibe coding platform for you to be able to build your own app. I'm going to pause here and maybe open up this up to questions, so I can maybe, because we've kind of covered a lot, right? We've covered some kind of high level stuff and we've shown you specifically here. Any questions you have regarding this process in creating a markdown file? And if not, that's totally okay. I'm going to scroll
Doug,
down. Yeah, go ahead.
there is one question from Joan in the chat. She's asking, what vibe coding platform or platforms do you use? You mentioned vibe coding up front, and I think that's maybe the next step that you're going to show us, or a step.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Here's actually the markdown file that I built. Can you see this or no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and put this in the chat. Again, I just want to, just for full disclosure, I don't work for Replit. I just use it a ton. I mean, I use it a ton, but between like $500 and $1,000 a month. I'm vibe coding while I'm in the grocery line. I'm vibe coding while I'm in between pickleball matches. Right? It's almost like you heard set it and forget it. I'll set the prompts in between, different things. I just wouldn't recommend vibe coding while you're driving. That's a little bit of a stretch.
Pretty much anything other than driving while you're driving is not.
Right, right. So,
Um,
yeah, go
but
ahead.
hey, for those people who maybe are like a little less even less far along than you are, and maybe don't even know what vibe coding is, could you give us a quick definition of that?
Yeah. Great question. So, what is vibe coding? Vibe coding is the ability to write code using AI. That's it. I mean, that's my definition. There might be a more complex definition, but with vibe coding, you're typing in the interface
Mhm.
natural language. And I have to tell you, some people who specialize in software development are against this. They've learned a specific way to code and create applications, right? But now they're struggling because they're trying to get too technical with the vibe coding platform, and then the vibe coding platform is going off in this own direction. They're like, no, 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 don't do that. So they're going back and forth. So really, like, the more simple language that you can use when you start to write some of these instructions, the better off you'll be. As far as skills, I would recommend to improve your vibe coding skills, I guess, would be learning design, right? Learning design architecture would be number one. Also learning website usability, right? Not just for desktop, but for mobile. There are specific terms that you should understand, because the more specific language that you use and given these instructions, the much better outcome that you're going to receive. right? I would also study how web applications are built, not necessarily identifying the code, but just looking at the high level structure of things. And maybe you can pick up a book on this, just kind of get some basic introduction, because that will accelerate your ability to use vibe coding software um, much better. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you can still see this statement of work, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna kind of show you what I would do if I was going to improve this, because sometimes on this it might not always give you what you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to our friend, right, ChatGPT, and I'm gonna say, can you make this better? Make a Replit app. Notice I just copied and pasted the whole thing. I didn't even look at it, right? Okay, so then how would can you improve the markdown for better web usability? So that's just going, right? I'll improve it with table of contents, collapsible sections, tables and callouts, emojis and icons, consistent headings and subheadings for hierarchy. So here we go. This is kind of the whole thing that's just kind of been generated. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. Um, can you improve the SEO and let's see, SEO and mobile responsiveness to this markdown? So it's going to give me some more stuff, right? And you can just think about it. This is based upon your knowledge of creating these different types of applications. You're going to ask, well, can you add this? Can you remove that? What's the difference between a section and a component? Those are just like little things that are part of the foundation of building some of these web apps that will help you in constructing some of these web apps. Okay. So then I'm just going to say, now it says here, do you want me to add open graph Twitter tags or Twitter cards for social media, LinkedIn? So I'm just gonna play with this for a while. Yes. Now, what I don't like is it's starting to give me some of this code. All right. I don't want to give it code if I don't have to, unless it's something I know that absolutely works. Okay, I need, it says, uh, no, I don't want that. Okay, I need the final file to upload into Replit. Can you make a list of the prompts in this chat? I don't know. We're about 25 minutes into this, right? Of basic introduction, explain what some of these things, and then obviously this is doing all of the thinking and the coding for us. Pretty soon here, we are going to take this one file and then just upload it into Replit and then just let it do the magic. Now, I will say, just for Replit, and I think this applies to there's other tools like Lovable. I don't know if anybody who uses vibe coding platforms, share it in the chat for everyone else to benefit. I don't want to restrict you just the one that I've recommended, because there are a few of them that are really good, and there's some of that are really, really good. They just cost a lot more money. Or you could build enterprise grade stuff just straight from the markdown file. And I think one of the challenges that I had when getting started with this or just with coding is I felt like I had to know everything, and that can definitely cripple you. The more that you can look at this from an abstract view will definitely help you not get overwhelmed, right? Or feel like you get stuck. If you've tried or learning software before, there's that early pain of just trying to figure out where things are. I'd recommend, on YouTube, there's plenty of different videos you can learn um, to kind of help you with this. Now, because this is a proposal, right, there's even a thing that will build in. It actually builds in what the cost might be for something like this. But I'm going to remove that from this because that's not going to be helpful in our okay, so this is going to be the folder structure for this. If you're using XAPI, you should be able to integrate this in there too. If you want to integrate ChatGPT into your app, you can do that. And it's really easy. Before you would really have to know coding. Now you can just go to these sites that they ask for the API key. You can get an API key from ChatGPT or from Claude or from any of the other big ones, and then that will allow you to integrate ChatGPT in your applications just like I have. Okay, so right here it says download the markdown file. And then here it is, Torrance Learning SOW. Now I'm going to go to Replit, right? This is what it looks like. It's just kind of starts off as a prompt. And see here, I've got just a ton of different apps. Just for CodeTrack Pro, I have like 12 of these things. Each of them that do it their own specific for their own specific use case. So we'll go back here. Let's see, where am I? Okay, right here. So then I click upload attachment, upload file, Torrance Learning, and then click start chat. Now you could be following along and doing this at the same time. And here's my challenge to you, right? For anybody who's watching or anybody who's listening to the recording, as I challenge you to build your own app using one of these tools and then paste it into the Slack channel. Do you think you can do that, Mark? Ramona? Joan? Or maybe you're already doing this. In the chat, while this thing's building, right? Because this is going to take a few minutes. I'd love to learn your experience in vibe coding, or if there's some projects that you've already started working on, that we can kind of create a collective mind share around this. Because look, this is just my process. This is just as what's worked for me. You might have a better way of approaching this. So, for Build Buddy, that was the learning platform for my son. The tagline is when we build together, we learn together. So right here, I'm just going to click build the entire app. Now it says 20 plus minutes here. I don't think it's going to take that long, but we're just going to, can you see this thing spin where it says preview will be available soon? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Um, And here's the thing too. I recommend reading this. Okay, don't just set it and forget it. I recommend reading this because this is like taking a course in of itself. The reason why I had my son using ChatGPT when he was so young is because he could create his own curriculum for homeschooling, right? Think about that. He created stuff. I mean, when he was 5, he checked out 83 books on Minecraft at the library. And then we had a lesson on personal responsibility. Right. So here goes. So it just says I'm going to help you create a plan here. Um It's going to have different types of modules. It's going to include these different types of features. This is the comprehensive plan, and you can change the plan ahead of time. Um, uh, after you upload it, you can kind of change it if you need to. But essentially, it's just going to keep going. And let's go to the chat to see if we've got any questions here. Oh yeah, I love Matt's comment. Speech to text to vibe. Brother, I do that all day long. That is such a productivity tool. And what's great about it when your mobile phone is, you actually get a notification when it's done building. So you're speaking in here, you might say a few words, right? And then you just hit send, and then you kind of go off to your thing, and then you speak a few words, and then you're off to your next thing. And so you're not even gonna have to type in anything. So I love that. Ramona says she's used Lovable recently. Awesome. I'd love to see what you have made if you'd like to share in the Slack app. Um, it's once you give these tools to everyone to solve specific problems, people come up with some of the craziest things. There's no limit to this. This is all based on your creativity, and learning and development professionals, at least the ones that I know, are super creative, right? They think about what are some different ways we can help people learn differently, implement differently. Joan says she's used Claude to write Python scripts and ugly web pages. Yeah, no, Claude is a great tool, right? So, I mean, I use ChatGPT just because it's easier for me to use one rather than a bunch of them. But Claude is a great tool. What Claude isn't, though, is Claude isn't really a vibe coding platform, right? It's not designed to create these large scale projects. It'll help you design some starter code, right? To create a simple web page and maybe get started, but there's some limitations with that. One of the things you can do if you're not a coder, right, and you want to get started and you're just using ChatGPT, you don't or Claude, and you don't want to use a vibe coding platform, what I would recommend doing is there's a tool called CodePen. This is a free tool, right? This is even what schools use. CodePen.io. It's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you could ask Claude, give me the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to make a soccer drills app so kids can learn how to play soccer. That's what my son did. My son created a soccer skills app. And so he automatically gave the placeholders for the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. And that becomes a great learning tool, right? Because now you're watching how the code is being created, and then you're learning different structures of code. So you don't necessarily need to use a vibe coding platform. You can use Claude or ChatGPT just to get started making some applications. Um, uh, Mark, this is a great time to get started. I can't wait to see what you build from some of these things. Um, and that's great that you understand. I try to make, I'm not a tech guy, really. Like I went to school for marketing. It was only when my son was 2, I then learned how to use program Alexa, and then that's when this whole developer path started. Ramona says, I have a question about going from a finished vibe coding project to inserting into Rise. I'm not sure what Rise is. Here's what I'll tell you. Uh, and I'll check out this link here in a minute. But Articulate costs a lot of money, right? You can build your own Articulate. I'll give you an example here. My friend Lois Kramer. Oh wait, here it is. Yeah. Okay. So my friend Lois Kramer has this book. It's called Book More Business for Professional Speakers, right? And I was sharing her the idea that I could take somebody's job description and I could create an AI agent. She said, "Well, Doug, can you do this? Can you do something like this for me?" And so then I created this. If you've ever had to speak at a conference before, you have to create a request for proposal. And you know how much time that takes if you have submitting to multiple conferences and people. So we end up building this RFP generator and the speaker toolkit directly from a PDF that she sent me, a 20-page PDF. And then she said, "Doug, can you make me this course? Can you make me a course?" And I said, "Sure." So I uploaded her entire book. This is a commercially published book, 180 pages. I uploaded the book and then it made a course. It had like all the different modules, had quizzes, had all these different things, placeholders to put videos. It just blows me away what you can do with some of these things. These are just tools, and please, I'm not trying to sell this to you. I'm just showing you kind of what's possible inside of your own domain of expertise. These are just kind of the things that were built inside of here. You think about podcast prep, how much time that takes. Once you have all your information uploaded, it then creates everything. It creates everything for you. So um, I'll stop there with that. So back to Ramona's point on using Articulate. Think about creating your own. I don't know if you use screen capture software before, like Loom is an example of one where you can
Um,
record a video of what you're saying along with what's on the screen. I use this vibe coding platform to create my own version of Loom. That's how powerful this is, as far as the possibilities go.
so can you hear me? Okay.
Hi,
Okay,
Ramona.
perfect. So, as far as like so the question really has more to do with beyond Rise. I had it in the link just because I figured that was easier than typing it all out again.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
Oh, cool.
so I tried to export the file and then upload that zipped file, but that didn't work. And when I talked with the Lovable AI, it explained that. And you have to build the project locally, which that's like outside of my realm of knowledge. And so my question is like that, like, is that what I have to do with it, or is there another way that's easier and where I don't have to install something that I don't have permission to install?
Well, I appreciate your question. And these things where you can get stuck, do it's like, well, what do I do now, right? Especially because I don't know if and I haven't used I've used Lovable once, so I can't really comment on how their application works. What I do know with Replit is um once you have your project and it's ready to go, you can then what they call deploy it to the internet, right? So
Mhm.
inside of the vibe coding platform, that's called development mode, right? And what you aspire to do is get this into production mode. Think about like a movie production. Now it's ready for everybody to see. That's where you want it. So once it's production ready, then you have to deploy it to the web. Now, the only way to kind of, I don't know if you're asking about seeing the app itself or seeing the code inside of it, but you should be able to see the HTML file inside of Lovable, so that you can edit it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, so like when I download the file, like it's not just that it doesn't work in Rise. It's like I tried to open the index.html file directly from my computer, and
yeah.
it's literally just a blank screen, like in
So
the
I
web
yeah
browser.
I'm so I wish I could spend more time on this with you. This is what I do when I get in a situation like this, right?
Mm.
Is I'll like I would actually take your comment here, copy and paste it and put it in a chat GPT and have it tell me what to do next, right? The next thing I would do is I would contact support. And then if I don't know what else to do, then I have to find somebody who does have this knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I posted in here because it's a group specifically on this new coding block feature it's in beta.
Yeah.
Um, so that was why I posted in here. But my question isn't I haven't contacted articulate support because technically it's not a articulate issue. It's a me understanding how web
Yeah.
files work and stuff issue, I believe.
Well, stick with it. You know, there's a good online tool called Treehouse.
Okay.
That's where I've taken a lot of courses on coding. I actually get free access from my library, except for my library card. Um, it's called Treehouse. You know, you could
Okay.
spend I think 30 to 50 bucks a month, but check with your library. You might be able to get it for free.
Okay. Will do.
Ramona, I have a quick question for you. Well,
Mhm.
I'm assuming, yeah, this is Replit is still working away. Um, is the file that you tried to download, is that the other link that you posted there, the iframe chat
Yeah.
sim mobile app? Okay. Just curious. I clicked on that. That's cool that you were able to create that. Um,
Yeah, it was my first attempt. There's definitely more fine tuning I would do, but this is just for a proof of concept that I didn't want to waste any more credits. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, Joan asks a question or comment. I would share the link, but it uses OpenAI and it costs money with each invocation. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of pricey.
and tell me what you're talking about. The
Oh, that
price
was
of
about the when you said share apps that you built with AI. So I
yeah.
asked AI to build what I call I guess a learning activity tracker, and I put the screenshot here. And so I just like I go to meetups and stuff, and I want to take notes, so or talk about something I learned. So I just click the record button, say what I want to say, and then the app generates an XAPI statement based on that. And if I like it, I click post and it puts it in or generate a post to LRS in there. And it will send it to an LRS. So it generates an XAPI based on what I say. So it's speech to text to XAPI to LRS. But I use OpenAI to do the speech to text and the figuring out how to create the XAPI statement from the text, and you have to pay for that. And so that's why I didn't want to post it, because I I don't spend $1,000 a month on this. I have the $20 plan for ChatGPT, and then I added extra so I could use the OpenAI API, OpenAI API. So
Yeah, there you go. Um, and look, Joe, I'm a super heavy user. I'm building these for my company, CoTrack Pro, but I'm also building these for other people. It's kind of like my little side hustle, you know. So I'm spinning up these things every day, or even I use this to build relationships with people, you know, as part of the sales process. Or I use these to help community-based organizations learn how to use AI to support their specific projects. So what I would go back to is the no code markdown inside of the that you create from a chat GPT, and then load that no code markdown into the vibe coding platform. So then it'll meet your requirements a little bit better the first time than having to go back and forth or edit, um, so forth.
Doug, I'm curious. So, um, I know you didn't really like read any of this stuff because we're getting through it quickly. But of course, you said earlier, like putting the person into the process. Um, my brain is just sort of trying to wrap its head around, like, okay, this is working away. Do you have any sense of what we're gonna get when this is finished? Like,
Well,
what
sure. This is
kind
this
of
is
an app
this
it's
is it. Now we didn't we
right.
didn't we
I'm
didn't
just
we did yeah.
confused as to like what is this app gonna do or what is its purpose?
I think it's funny because sometimes when I load this in, sometimes I get the things that I didn't ask for, but I really, really like, oh my gosh, I love that. I want more of it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's like way off and I'm thinking, okay, I need to redo this. When you think about um for a project, right? If you've ever hired a developer before, you're looking at, between $50 an hour on the low end to $150 an hour to somebody who relatively knows what they're doing, to then like a CTO level that's like $350 an hour, who understands all of the different components and how they're put together that you actually get it to ship. Um, so for the cost of building one of these through vibe coding is significantly less. There's just no comparison. You also look at time to market. There's no comparison. You look at so what I would suggest, if you're um, let's say you're a company like Torrance Learning, where you have multiple people that it's on the team. What I would recommend doing is saying, okay, what with everything that we've got going on right now, right? What are some specific problems we'd love to be able to solve right now? Okay.
Mhm.
Then I'd ask the next question: what are the specific metrics involved? How are we going to measure success with this? Right. The next thing I would ask: are there any specific pain points that our customers are having right now? These are all discussions that typically happen in a brainstorming session, and so
Mhm.
maybe it's someone's role on the team to take all of the notes, right, and then create a markdown file that represents that, kind of called that statement of work, and then upload that no code markdown into the Replit app and just see what it builds.
Mhm.
When we did this BMB with AI, I had no idea it was going to create a speaking fee calculator. I had no idea it was going to create um, I had no idea it was going to create the question, the answers, or when somebody asks or like objects to what your speaking fee is. I had no idea it was going to add in all the Q&A on how to handle objections for that. It's just, it kind of did it itself. So I would give it some kind of flexibility
Mhm.
around how it thinks about solving your problem. And you really be amazed what you get. This thing is it's still on 19 minutes ago. I'm hoping that it has okay, so now it's asking for my open AI key. I'll go ahead and put mine in. And again, this is just a demo, right? And yeah,
Yep.
it is costing me money to run this, but this is just my way of saying thanks, investing in you all. And please connect with me on LinkedIn and stay in touch. If you have questions about specific stuff, you can reach out, in that manner. Or if you want to schedule a specific time, we can figure something out.
Awesome. Doug, do you have any other examples of apps that you are able to share?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Ones that you've built for other?
So this is my fun one, and this is also good for the workplace. This is transforming hostile co-parent communication into child focused communication. I don't know if you've ever been involved with uh, you know an uncomfortable conversation, but let's say uh, I'm just going to write this in. I hate you. Please uh, pick up the kids now. Right? That's considered a hostile message.
Yeah.
And some people talk like that, right? I'm not saying you do, but some people talk. So they click rewrite with AI. And then here goes. Hello, I hope you're doing well. Can you please pick up the kids as soon as possible? Thank you for your help. Best regards, your name. That's it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to mull over the response. It takes the emotion out of your response and then gives it something nice, collaborative, and kind. Also,
Mhm.
with this Bridges app, there's a smart reply feature that takes lemons and puts it into lemonade. So if somebody says, blah, 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 I copy that message, I paste it in the smart reply, and then it gives this nice thoughtful, collaborative reply that I can paste in whatever message platform that I want. There's a tone detection meter in here. This is all inside the Bridges app. The Talk app. All right, we got maybe too many people are on that one right now. There's the Mental app. This will do a mood journal. This will do an incident report. It'll also help you cope with emotions during these difficult times. It'll create, I think I've scrolled down. I don't know if I still have any left on here. Okay, the emotion navigator. If I click on this, pick of an emotion. Maybe you're on overwhelm right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. How intense is this? Pretty intense. So here's some coping strategies, right? I'll take a short break. I'll prioritize tasks. I'll practice saying no. And then there's the generate audio, which now becomes an audio file that you can listen to over and over again to make sure that your mind's in the right place. Your mind's in the right place to be able to handle some of these things. There's the cyberbullying prevention app that documents cyberbullying. All you do is you upload the screenshot, from whatever email, text, Facebook, whatever it is. You upload the screenshot to cyber, and then it'll analyze the message. It'll extract the text from it, and then it'll assess a severity score, and then it'll generate a PDF-friendly report that you could submit to the police to make a police report, or be able to use for to be able to protect yourself and your family. The decisions one, this has there's a 100-question assessment that a parent can complete, and from that assessment, it'll generate AI insights as far as what the issues are. And these questions it's Likert scale, 1 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
So from that scale, 1 through 5, you kind of rate it, and then from the 100 questions that you answer, it generates a report, all driven by AI, creates the insights of what's been going on, and then it creates a 10-step action plan. All from this one app. There's 8 common decisions that co-parents make between education, healthcare, travel, a new one for digital devices. This will actually create a plan specific to your kids that hopefully you can agree upon together, mutually, or you're working with, a co-parent counselor, mediator, attorney to resolve some of those issues. Here's another crazy one that just kind of happened by accident. My friend Terry Murphy has a book on helping attorneys present oral arguments. So with this one, let's see if I can sign in real quick, just to kind of show you. You upload the case to this app. It'll automatically generate the opening statement, cross-examination questions, closing argument, motion hearing. These are all things that you would normally say if you are an attorney or you're representing yourself pro se. So from this, it not only creates the statements, but it creates the audio files for you to practice. Once you've practiced the audio files enough, then you can record using this app. And once you upload the recording to this app, has AI insights that will help you see how well of a job you did in presenting each one of these arguments.
Wow.
I'll show you the content generator. This is and please don't share this with other people because this is all attached to my account, but it'll create the audio files, it'll create the images. So I think I told you about this before. We just type in the theme. You can see the types of images that it creates, and then the social media text and hashtags here.
Mm-hmm.
Images. The video component doesn't work so well, at least not yet, but the technology is catching up really, really quickly. What's another fun one I can show you? I don't know. I think we're out of time. Let me check real quick to see how we're doing here. So I'm gonna go here to click on publish so you can see what this looks like as far as the last step goes. Here's the primary URL that it gives you, and you can see the extension .replit.app. You can customize this thing to whatever you want. So I'm gonna turn this into torrents. It's not ready yet, but once it's ready, I'm gonna click publish, and then it's gonna give me the URL for this entire app that I can use to share with somebody. Or if you're using a domain like through GoDaddy or any domain hosting service, I use Amazon Web Services, Route 53 for mine, just because a lot of stuff I have is built inside of AWS. That's what I will do to host the domain so that I can point each one of these apps
Yep.
back to it. So on dougdevitre.org, you'll see that a lot of these apps that are in here will point back to dougdevitre.org. Or in the case for CodeTrack Pro, it'll be CodeTrack Pro.
Mm-hmm.
The landing pages, the membership side of things, the payment gateway, all of that's possible inside of this. So it looks like someone already tried Torrents, or maybe it's someone from Torrance, California.
Probably, yeah.
So
So
Torrance
Torrance
Learning
Yep,
is
there you go.
available. Okay, so let's see. It's starting up the browser to test it. But what I'll do is once this is all finished, I'll share this in the Slack app for everybody to see. I just want to be respectful for everybody's time because I know you got to be more places. Or if you want the encore, we can we can do the encore.
Okay, this is great. Thank you so much, Doug, for sharing all of this with us. I look forward to, and we can also share that link out and blast it out to everybody when we share the recording and put it up on our site as well, so they can check it out. Thank you. I appreciate all that you shared with us today. This has been really cool to see the process in action and to see especially all the different things that you have been able to create with this process. So you kind of like put it like I don't know what the right words are. Make it concrete for my brain. So
This is hard stuff, but it doesn't have to be that hard. Once you, like anything else, right? Once you have a process in place, just follow it step by step and be curious. If something doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. I've been at this for a while now, and so you're seeing the investment of my time and money into this. So hopefully each one of you got something that you can take away. And again, please share. Oh, here it is right here. Here's the app. The learning dashboard for Torrance Learning.
all right.
I'll go ahead and share that in the Slack.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. Take care,
Yeah.
everybody. And
All
we'll be back in 2 weeks for the next Lit Spotlight session, which I believe will be Liz Santana sharing about some VR solutions. So take care, and we'll see you at another session. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.